There is a light within you that someone is desperately trying to forget, yet they find themselves completely unable to do so. This person has made a conscious choice to walk away and create an ocean of distance between your lives. Before your mind begins to race with questions, and before you try to rationalize every single detail, I need you to pause for a moment and just breathe slowly. The words reaching you in this exact moment are not here by some random coincidence. This specific timing and this sudden arrival of clarity come from a much higher alignment. It serves as an absolute confirmation for your spirit. It is the exact truth that your intuition has been whispering to you during those quiet, lonely nights when you felt overwhelmed by confusion and unanswered questions. Nothing about this moment is accidental. Every piece of this connection carries a profound meaning that you are finally ready to receive. Sometimes the universe reveals its deepest secrets only when you stop running, when you quiet the noise of the outside world, and when you become still enough to really listen. Your soul already recognizes what is true. There is a specific person from your journey, perhaps someone who is currently a ghost in your life, or someone who used to hold your hand, who carries a heavy devotion they simply do not know how to express. They are dealing with an intense wave of emotion that frightens them, and they are fighting a constant longing that refuses to fade away, no matter how many miles or months they place between you. Do not let their cold behavior or their absolute silence convince you that they do not care. Their silence is not empty. It is actually completely full of unspoken words and powerful feelings that are overflowing inside their chest. As their love for you grows deeper and more undeniable, their instinct to pull back and hide also increases. It is as if holding affection for you has become the most beautiful gift, and at the exact same time, the heaviest burden they have ever been asked to carry. This is the reality their heart understands completely, even though their daily actions are designed to cover it up and hide it from the world. They keep this painful distance because you managed to touch them at their very core. You woke up a dormant part of their being, something that had been safely asleep under years of emotional armor and protective walls. If you are currently dealing with someone who loves you deeply but continues to pull away out of fear, acknowledge that truth within yourself right now. When two unique personalities come into contact, it is very much like the meeting of two active chemical substances. If there is even the slightest reaction, both individuals are completely and permanently transformed. That is precisely what took place between the two of you. You changed the fabric of their reality in ways they cannot undo. You forced them to see sides of their own character that they had spent a lifetime hiding from everyone else. You gently dismantled the defense mechanisms they had spent years carefully constructing. You reached a hidden chamber of their soul that even they did not realize existed before you walked into their life. To this person, you are not just another chapter or another face in the crowd. You are a mirror that reflects both their greatest desires and their deepest fears of loss. You reflect their highest hopes and, simultaneously, every unhealed wound they have tried to ignore. They have never experienced emotions this profound, this genuine, or this incredibly difficult to control. You stripped away their defenses without even trying to do so. When they were with you, their soul felt entirely exposed, transparent, and completely without cover. Being that vulnerable was something they had never been taught was safe. You were never a part of their original life plan, but rather a sudden arrival that shifted their entire universe in ways they still cannot fully describe or comprehend. They did not anticipate the sparks that flew whenever you spoke, the overwhelming sense of peace that washed over them when you were near, or the terrifying reality that your absence would eventually feel like losing the very air they need to breathe. This person remains far away, not because they lack interest, but because they are paralyzed by the immense emotional power you hold over their spirit. You have become the one person whose opinions and thoughts matter more than anyone else, turning you into a mirror they are simply not yet ready to face. If you know you have someone who cares for you deeply, but stays distant just to protect their own fragile ego, Recognize that dynamic for what it is. Loving you feels to them like stepping off a massive cliff without any guarantee that a soft net waits below to catch them. So, instead of taking that beautiful risk, they choose to remain frozen in a state of self-imposed isolation. Their continued distance is actually a quiet admission of their own perceived guilt. They truly believe in their heart that you deserve someone who is far more complete, healed, and steady than they currently feel inside. They constantly replay past mistakes and old conversations in their head, worried that their unhealed traumas will bring chaos into something pure and permanently damage a bond that feels too precious to break. Inside their heavy silence lives a quiet, haunting voice that tells them they are not yet good enough to meet you as their best self. If you recognize that this silence is just a protective barrier born from their own feelings of inadequacy, you are beginning to see the truth. They sense your connection in those deep, energetic spaces where human logic cannot reach. No matter how far they travel or how hard they try to run, you remain a permanent fixture inside their internal landscape. Every temporary distraction they seek out fails miserably, and every attempt to replace you feels incredibly hollow, because their heart remains completely loyal to the essence of what you shared, even while their mind is terrified of the vulnerability you represent. What we choose to resist will only continue to persist. Their frantic attempts to push you away have only caused the underlying connection to grow stronger and more undeniable within their unconscious mind. Their silence is rich with unsaid truths, and the heavy burden of past disappointments that taught them closeness always brings suffering, making you feel both incredibly valuable and dangerous to their peace of mind. If you are ready for the truth that their heart is actively working to overcome this fear, hold on to that readiness. They are currently testing their own strength, attempting to see if they can learn to stand firmly on their own 2 feet before they are truly capable of standing beside a soul like yours. Beneath their false facade of independence and the absolute quiet of the night, they lie awake, slowly crumbling under the immense pressure of everything they have left unsaid. They intuitively understand that taking even a single step back toward you will completely shift their entire world, initiating a massive transformation for which they do not yet feel prepared. Their absence is a self-imposed exile, a frantic attempt to calm the raging storm inside their own mind before it encounters the profound, healing stillness of your presence. If you want to understand why they are staying away, even though their love for you runs deep, look at their fear of honesty. They recognize that one single moment of total transparency will make their emotions completely impossible to deny. Once that ultimate truth is spoken out loud, there is absolutely no returning to the safety of the shadows. To love you fully is a total commitment to everything, and they are currently terrified of surrendering that much of themselves to another human being. They hide behind the comfortable illusion of waiting for the perfect time, telling themselves they will reach out when they feel stronger or when life becomes less complicated. But their spirit already knows that true healing does not wait for convenience. Even from a distance, they are constantly haunted by the agonizing wonder of whether your heart still holds a sacred space for them, or if you have finally closed the door for good. The deepest truth of all is that they are planning to come back. They will return not when they are completely perfect, but when the sheer agony of your absence finally outweighs the terrifying fear of their own vulnerability. While they may appear entirely composed, cold, and untroubled to the outside world, this separation is a silent trauma that strikes them every single time the noise of daily life fades away. They do not miss you as a simple, passing memory, but as the only place where they ever felt truly at home. They carry a deep recognition that everything in life was lighter, brighter, and far more authentic when they were in your company. Until we make the unconscious conscious, it will continue to direct our lives, and we will simply call it fate. Their hidden fears of being completely undeserving of love have guided their retreat. but their soul continues to pull them relentlessly toward the light you provide. This is a major turning point in their personal destiny, an opening that requires the exact honesty they have spent years avoiding. If you are ready to welcome the version of them that finally chooses truth over fear, prepare your heart. At night, when sleep refuses to come and they find themselves staring upward into the darkness, they think about all the words that were never spoken, the apologies they owe you, the truths they held back, and the chances they desperately wish they could live over again. They contemplate reaching out to you. They vividly picture exactly what they would say if fear did not completely paralyze them. They write long, emotional messages that they never actually send. They type out their deepest thoughts and then delete them out of panic. They stare at your name on their screen, hoping that some sudden wave of bravery will appear. They practice conversations in their mind that they are far too scared to begin in reality. Every single attempt ends with the exact same terrifying worry. They constantly wonder if it is already too late for them. They worry that you have moved on with your life without them. They fear that the window of opportunity has closed forever. Yet, even with that constant worry, they cannot stop hoping that you still feel the invisible thread connecting your hearts. They wonder if you still notice the bond beneath the heavy quiet. They wonder if your heart still recognizes theirs, the exact same way theirs knows yours. They wonder if your spirit still calls out to them in those perfectly still moments of the day. There are nights when they feel absolutely certain that you are thinking of them too. They experience sudden moments when your name flashes into their mind, as if pulled by an invisible magnetic force. They are deeply scared of losing you for good. Even though they are the ones creating the distance, it is just a strange, distorted way of guarding themselves, pushing away the one person who could truly help them heal. If you feel their silence is coming from a place of deep fear rather than a lack of love, your intuition is completely correct. They are living inside a painful contradiction. They are actively running away from their strongest desire. They stay completely quiet about the very things they need to share most. They deny themselves the one love that could change their life because they have never truly believed they deserve something so pure and genuine. If they seem cold, distant, or uncaring right now, please know it is only a cover, a survival tactic, and a way to protect their fragile inner world. They learned very early in life that showing true feelings always results in risk, that depending on others is a sign of weakness, and that loving someone strongly only leads to future pain. So, they built their walls exceptionally tall and thick. Then you came along and gently broke through those defenses without even trying. That is the exact reason they stepped back, and that is why they disappear into the shadows. They are trying desperately to rebuild their guards, but every single effort fails because their heart keeps choosing you. No matter how much their logical mind fights for complete control, they are secretly waiting for the right moment to appear. Deep down inside their soul, they already know that no perfect time truly exists for a connection this strong. They keep making excuses to themselves, saying they need just a few more days to become the healed person they hope to be for you. They tell themselves they need more time to fix their wounds, more time to grow up, and more time to learn how to love another human being without constant fear. But time has slowly turned into their own personal trap. Every single day they choose to wait only makes the emotional space between you feel harder to cross, not simpler. Every day of heavy silence adds more pressure to their chest. Every day of pretending they do not care adds immense weight to the underlying truth. They constantly picture themselves returning to your life in a strong and powerful way, acting completely honest and brave without any shaking or doubt. They imagine walking right up to you, knowing exactly the right words to say to fix everything. But the reality of life does not pause until someone finds complete courage. True love does not wait around for complete healing to happen first. Sometimes, the only real path forward is to take a blind jump without seeing where you will land. They are slowly learning the hard way that waiting for a perfect moment causes people to lose what matters most in life. They stand completely still right now, desperately wanting to move forward, but held firmly in place by their own chains. They can feel the universe gently pushing them back toward you, while their internal fear pulls them hard in the opposite direction. They are trying to calm their inner struggles just long enough to hear the deeper truth of their situation. They are currently deciding whether to keep living behind their thick emotional guards, or to finally give in to the profound bond that refuses to fade away. They sometimes worry that you have become much stronger without them around. They worry that you have learned to move on with your life, and that you no longer search for them in the crowds. The mere idea of that possibility hurts them deeply in ways they cannot easily fix or handle. They would honestly rather stay completely silent and punish themselves in isolation than face the absolute pain of discovering they waited too long to come back to you. But under all the layers of fear and delay, one strong truth remains perfectly steady. They never stopped loving you. The distance between you is not because their love became weaker over time. The distance is there because the love grew so incredibly powerful that they simply could not carry it without feeling completely overwhelmed. They are not gone from your life forever. They are quietly collecting their scattered strength. They are building up their courage, piece by piece, behind the scenes. They are fighting a massive inner battle between their deep-seated fear and what is truly meant to be. They are learning in a very slow and difficult way that silence does not actually guard love. It only makes the connection feel weaker and more strained. There will eventually come a specific moment, either very gently or all at once, when something inside their soul opens wide and they can no longer force themselves to stay away. It will be a moment when their heart finally speaks much louder than their worries. It will be a moment when the pain of not choosing you hurts significantly more than the risk of choosing you. On that exact day, the painful separation will finally finish. They are coming back to you. They will not return halfway or unsure or weak, but they will show up truly, fully present, and completely honest. Because this story between you continues to live, your shared chapter remains wide open. Love this incredibly deep does not just vanish into thin air. It simply changes form and grows stronger in the dark. They are shifting inside during this extended period of quiet. They are growing in ways that you cannot see with your eyes right now. While it may feel to you like nothing is moving at all, everything within their internal world is changing. The distance has forced them to look into a mirror and face themselves, and that is truly one of the toughest fights any human being can experience. Being without your presence has worked like a mirror, showing them every ugly truth they once tried to escape. It has uncovered the deep realities they tried to hide from everyone else. It has removed the thick layers of protection they built over many years of life. Now they stand directly face to face with themselves, with no one else left to blame, and no more clever ways to hide from the truth. No distractions remain in their life, and they have no escape from the fact that being apart from you brings the deepest emotional pain they have ever known. So, instead of running outside to find distractions, they have started turning inward, slowly and with a lot of unwillingness at first. They are discovering who they really are when they stop pretending to be fine. They are seeing that what they once proudly called strength, such as shutting down their feelings, staying distant, and isolating themselves, was actually just going completely numb. It was a primitive way to survive their days, but it was not a way to truly live a life. Going numb does not bring real healing, and keeping silence is not a sign of real power. They look back at the memories of you and recognize someone who helped them feel safe enough to hope for a better future again. You were someone they could not pretend around, no matter how hard they tried. The distance gave them the necessary room to think clearly, and now they see with new eyes the exact things that fear had hidden from them before. They understand how deeply you truly saw them, and that realization scares them, because being truly seen means being open to possible loss. Being open means having something incredibly valuable that could easily be hurt. They are gradually learning that the true risk in life is not losing you, but completely missing the chance to share something rare because fear stopped them from acting. They realize they cannot love you completely until they face the hidden, dark sides of themselves they always avoided. They cannot create something lasting while they are still hiding behind high emotional walls. They cannot move toward you while carrying a heavy load of unhealed pain from their past. So, they are actively studying new ways of being. They are letting go of old behavioral patterns they once thought would last forever. They feel life pulling them out of who they used to be and guiding them through a very hard but necessary growth process. They were terrified of being loved by you because they felt completely unworthy inside their own mind. They are facing the deep shadow parts of themselves, which represent the hidden, pushed down, and weaker sides of their personality. But you broke those old negative beliefs simply by being yourself around them. You made them feel secure enough to be fully human and messy, and that frightened them more than anything they had ever experienced before. In their private times of deep thinking, they constantly recall the gentle tone in your voice, the immense calm in your presence, and the understanding you showed in your quiet moments together. You gave them something completely real, and they simply did not know how to accept it fully at the time. They once believed that love had to be difficult, full of chaotic ups and downs, and always unsure, because that was the only model of love they had ever known growing up. But with you, it felt entirely different. They were not mainly scared that you would walk away and leave them. They were terrified of disappointing you. They were scared of letting you down. They feared you would look very closely at them and notice the imperfections they felt so ashamed of hiding. What they are realizing slowly over time is that you never actually demanded perfection from them. You never needed them to be without mistakes. Love is not about being flawless or perfect. It is about being willing to try and showing up truly as you are. Every single day they stay awake, they feel the empty result of their choice to walk away. Every morning they face without you, they carry a psychological load that no longer makes any sense to them. Every night as they fall asleep, their thoughts immediately drift to you. They understand that a love like this does not appear often in a regular lifetime. Their distance is not giving them any real power or control. It is actually harming the very thing they hope to keep safe for the future. They sense the universe pressing them to move, to grow up, and to face the hard truth. They feel the underlying connection becoming stronger instead of disappearing like they thought it would. What they hoped time would eventually reduce, time has actually made much deeper. They know now that life does not wait endlessly for anyone to get ready.